brushes and combs, razors, deodorant, like everything that we all use at home. We need all of those things all the time. And so those are always things that we accept, yeah.
Will you accept things that have been opened?
Yeah.
I'm currently helping clear an estate, and so there are a lot of products that I've been throwing away because I'm not going to take them to Teen Challenge.
Sure.
That we could bring those to you.
Opened, like, so I would...
It's skin cream. 27 different kinds of pump bottles of lotion that maybe have had that much used out of them.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Things like that.
Sure.
No, it's not
and
used
also, like,
toothbrushes or used...
Yeah, and like open, we have a lot of moms who ask us about diapers. Will you take, like, if I have a 24-pack of diapers and I've used 8 of them, and then my baby outgrew that size and I had to go get new diapers, but I've still got these 16 diapers, absolutely we'll take the open diapers and stuff like that, for sure.
It depends, except I threw the Depends away.
Yes, we'll take Depends.
I'm not going to go find that box and take them back out of the box.
No.
I'm not trust anymore.
Yeah, and so you can just, most after mornings or afternoons are great times to just stop by Unit 7 if you have stuff like that, and you're more than welcome to drop it off. We also always set, so some things that we do not accept used, but always need are things like socks, underwear. We do accept used kids' clothes, especially. We don't do a lot of adults' clothes for that exact reason that you mentioned, but we do need kids' clothes because kiddos have lots of accidents and they need changes of clothes.
Brandi, did they tell you about the Marshall School clothes closet?
No.
I swear. Marshall School has a clothes closet.
Yeah, that's just
I think it's year-round on
Yeah.
92nd. During school year, I think it's only 2 days a week. You can get the forms, the mothers can get the forms at their office at the school they go to. It services the entire Portland Public School.
Awesome.
So if they need, and they've closed them for free.
Wow.
They give us new
That's
shoes,
fabulous.
new underwear, new socks, and then they can pick from used shoes, 3 pairs of pants, 3 pairs of shorts, 5 shirts.
Okay, super. Well, thanks. Yeah, well, we'll rely on them then.
Yeah.
One of our volunteer manager, Bethany, tonight is at back to school night for Kelly Elementary. So we're excited to be there this evening as well. And so other ways that neighbors can pitch in, there's lots of ways. One, you're always welcome to sign up to volunteer. We have so many volunteer opportunities, from making food, to doing kids activities, to helping with laundry, to helping with gardening. I think, Shar went and helped with gardening.
Yeah,
and painting. We still have a little bit of painting to do. So we painted 5 of the apartments. We painted units 1, 2, 3, 4, and 7. And we still have 5, 6, and 8 to finish. So we have those to do over the next few months. Still continuing to do gardening. I guess one thing I can share with you all as well is we've been working on our site plan, which means the exterior design of what we're going to be doing. And so what we have decided, we think, and we're submitting it to the city of Portland in the next week or so to see if they're cool with it. So I'd love your thoughts too. Is so the apartments are on the north side, right? And then there's a little tiny parking lot right there. And then there's the bigger parking lot for the church, another little parking lot. And so what we're going to do is the north parking lot, we're going to combine it together with that north church parking lot and have one big parking lot, so it makes it feel more like a campus, so the apartments feel part of the program. We're going to take a part of that parking lot, make it into a half-court basketball. Then we're going to have along the back of the building kind of a stretch for dog walking and smoking, covered smoking area, bike parking. And then on the south side of the building, we will have, that will all be depaved, and we'll have a playground, a covered picnic area, some garden beds, and lots of landscaping. So that's what we're thinking.
So what happened to the 40-unit apartment?
Oh, that'll be on the back. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
That's that back parking lot.
Right.
Yeah, and so that will still be coming in phase 2, which we haven't even started really doing anything with yet. We'll get the first one open before we go there. So yeah, so the dog walk area will kind of be between the church building and what's going to be for now an empty parking lot. But in the future will be that. And so what we're going to do with that empty parking lot in the meantime, we bought a nice one of those kind of nice Home Depot sheds that's pretty big. And then we're gonna paint like 4 square. And there's a chance that we might rent out a few of the back parking lot spots to folks in the neighborhood, just while it's just sitting empty as a parking lot. Rent it out to folks who might want to use it to park. So that's what we're thinking.
So is there any chance that at some point, when you have all the apartments completed, that you'll let the families have like one unit per family, or are you all set up?
Yes. When we build the new apartments in the back, and we then bring them online as regular apartments, at that point, the plan is to convert our current apartments into just normal apartments. And then we'll still have the 10 emergency shelter rooms in the main building, but then the 8 apartments and then the new apartments would just be normal housing.
So how do the families get along? Just curious.
Well, and so the families from Goose Hollow, they had been all living in one basketball gym. Goose Hollow was in the basement of a church, and it was a big basketball gym where we had these pieces of plywood on casters and wheels that pulled out and made these little kind of cubicles. So we had 8 of those, which is why we had 8 families. And the families had, probably lived together anywhere between 2 and 5 weeks when we made the move. And we kind of let the families pick their own roommates. We were like, you guys know each other. You tell us who wants to live together. And so there's one family who was like besties in shelter. And they were like, we want to be together. And we were like, great, that makes sense. You guys hang out all the time. Perfect. The second they moved into that unit, it has been nothing but fighting. So, taking each other's wet clothes out of the washer and not saying anything and putting them on top and not putting them in the dryer, So that's our biggest issue. And everybody else is cool, but this one family, these 2 families that were like so tight are now just at each other's throats. So that's our biggest issue and drama. Other than that, when one of the moms moved from downtown where she was sleeping on the gym floor of a basketball gym, she walked into the apartments and she started crying because she couldn't believe that they had their own room. So, yeah, so it's going pretty well. They seem to be engaging. We were worried that they would just kind of go in their apartments and just stay there. But we're trying really hard to have coffee and meals and snacks and activities and volunteers and resources. And they are coming. Every morning they all come and they're like, where's the coffee? Why isn't the coffee made yet? So it's good. And we'll be really happy when we have the big day shelter so that there's even more ways to engage. But they're even coming and hanging out in Unit 7. Every time I go to Unit 7, there's like 3 or 4 people in there hanging out with staff. So.
Well, that's where you keep the coffee.
That's right.
And I might suggest anyone who's cleaning house or going through boxes or things, if you have drapes, they desperately need drapes for their living rooms.
Well, we got blinds. We did get new white shade blinds.
Since we were there?
Yes.
Yeah, there were blankets.
Yes, there were sheets hung up. Yes, it was awful. We recognize that. Sorry. Our fault. Because now we have the white, like those roller shades that just pull down. So now you just see white.
Well, we only did half the bed, but I did spend several hours there being called to curtains in the window, blankets and sheets.
Every time I drove up, I was like, no, this is not. No.
Are they responsible for the cleaning and upkeep of their own unit?
Yeah, so what we are doing is we are going to come in, and we're testing it right now of coming in every other week and doing a professional clean. But in the 2 weeks in between, those 14 days, it's up to the families. But one thing we do is every day we do a health and safety check in every single room where we have to see you face to face every single day, and we have to be in your bedroom and see, that you can't have those cords plugged in like that, or this is way too messy, or there's a spill you need to clean up. And so just that coaching has been, the shelter staff report has been going really well, and that people have been receptive. When they walk in and there's like a sticky drink on the floor, when they come back next time, they have taken care of it. And so we thought a lot about like, how do we do the cleaning? And one of the things, and the families agree, like we want to help the families build the capacity to take care of their houses, right? And so this, I think, is going to make sure that our property stays clean by these daily checks, but then also coming in with professional cleaners, but then really building the capacity of the families.
Well, after working hotels for 40 years with a bed bug situation the way it is nowadays, it just kind of has me a little bit
Me too.
itchy.
No, don't even say that.
You know, TriMet buses.
I know. And every time I go into a hotel, don't even tell me.
Here, have some of mine. Thanks for sharing.
I believe the mayor recently said that the homeless population had stabilized in terms of absolute numbers. Do you believe that's correct?
No. No.
Right lie.
You know, the city and the county are trying to use all these data points to give the public this information, and the data is not accurate. Unless it's coming from the Oregon Department of Education or something like that, I would not trust data about numbers of people or just because the data systems are messy and they have incomplete data sets and they're trying to make these big statistical conclusions from stuff that just, if you had a statistician go in there, they'd probably be like, this is just bunk. So I would be wary.
Ted's got a problem with that recently legalized cannabis, I think.
Did someone over
But
here?
much of that population by necessity is transient. You know, it moves from the corner of this block in their car to the corner of that block in their car. It's tough to census that.
Yes, it is really tough. And like the families that we work with, I mean, so Oregon Department of Education last school year, 4,300 students experienced homelessness just in Multnomah County. Statewide, it was 22,000 students. And that doesn't count the little brothers and sisters who aren't in school yet, doesn't count their parents. And so when we talk about Stuart Emmons was running for city council against Loretta Smith and Joanne Hardesty in the primary, and he came out with this big plan to end homelessness for 4,400 people who experience homelessness. This number he gets from this county data set, and had this whole funding mechanism and all that stuff. And it just doesn't make sense, because if there's only 4,400 people homeless in Portland, how are there 4,300 students in 1 year homeless?
4,400 are in Lents.
Right, plus all their parents, plus all their little brothers and sisters. And so the numbers just aren't working out. And so I would say there's probably more like 20,000 people homeless on any given night in Portland. And we keep talking about how to solve the problem for 4,500. So that's my...
The city bragged in 2017 about taking their $26 million and rescuing 4,500 people out of homelessness. And when you read through it, there's a chance that it's probably people that are on the doorstep of homelessness that they're able to get. Once they cross that threshold and they get into your world, it's a whole lot different story.
It is, and they also, you know, they count people, I don't know, the way they count people is tricky, because sometimes families will be, or individuals, this is all systems, people will be housed maybe in 2016, and we'll count that as a housing placement, and then 2 years will go by, and they'll have fallen back into homelessness at some point, and so someone else will house them again, and that's counted as a new housing placement. And so the city is counting that as 2 housing placements in 2 different fiscal years, and so that 4,000 number this year, the number is 6,000 that they're going around saying that this is how many people we solved homelessness for, 6,000 people last year. But how many of those are being double counted? Or, I mean, it's just the methodologies behind all of that data are so bad. The retention data, how long, so we all keep track after families are done with their rent assistance. We have to keep track of how long they keep their housing. And so you have to call them at these checkpoints at 3 months and 6 months and 12 months and 18 months, and you follow up with all your people. And so the way that we count it, that the county counts it though, say we call 100 families that have been housed. We only get a hold of 40 of them. But of those 40, 38 are still housed. Great, 96%. But the other 60 families that we couldn't even get a hold of are excluded from the count altogether. And so when the bureaucrats are giving the elected officials this information, when the elected officials are giving us this information, they're not telling you what's really going on in these numbers. And so the elected officials are making funding decisions too about, oh, well, we have 96% retention rate in the homeless family system. They're good. They don't need services, they don't need help, they don't need support, they don't need more funding, they don't need anything. because their numbers are outstanding. But it's like, but no, actually in reality, 60% of our people are not, I mean, these are not PHF, these are made up numbers just for math, but this is how it's going. And I mean, even if it's 75 versus 90%, but then these are more likely the percentages that we're talking about. We're looking at 90-95% success rates as a county, and it's probably more like 60 or 70%.
Do you offer like a personal finance coaching?
We do, yeah. We actually have 4 life skills curricula that we teach.
You talked about that in the last meeting.
Yeah, and we do. And actually, we just had on Monday night, I hosted 13 former families that have stayed in Goose Hollow in the past couple of years to have them come and give us input about the new program. And we kept, one of the questions we had was how, if you had your own private room, right? And what would get you out of your room to engage with us? What would make you want to come out and be with the staff and build relationships with us? And one of the number one things they said was, we want finance classes, which we already give them. It's like, well, now take them. So, but truthfully, this new space, we had 1 hour a week at our old space where we had a dedicated life skills classroom that we could use. And now we have 2 dedicated life skills classes that are available to us 24 hours a day. So we're really excited about being able to do more and more and more of those finance and budget classes. I'll just tell you one thing that I found really surprising from this family planning session we hosted. I asked them, I put up all the kind of things in our community guidelines that get you kicked out of shelter. Bringing guns, fighting, hate speech, bringing other weapons, not passing our background check. You can't even get in if you don't pass the background check. And so I had them, I gave them, those dots, those dot exercises where people get to vote with their dots. We did that and I gave them each 12 dots. And I said, you all can use these 12 dots however you want. You can vote for all different things and put a couple dots in each, or you could put all your dots on one. Like, it's really up to you. Use your dots how you want. And the thing that had the most dots, like 5 times as many dots as any, one of the dads put his whole 12 stickers on this one, was the families want everyone to go through a mandatory background check. That was the most important thing to them. And the background check, the 3 things that would get you disqualified are being on the sex offender registry, crimes against children, and repeated patterns of violent offenses. If you have manufacturing or a DUI or something like that, you can still come to shelter, but those 3 things will get you disqualified.
Oh, for sure.
And the families were like, yep, that. We want you to do that. So we were like, okay, we will. We'll keep doing it. So I just thought that was interesting. That was more important to them than...
No, that'd be the first thing. Why would you want,
It's safety.
if you can't close your eyes or turn your back on the person right next to you.
And your 5-year-old's with you.
And that's why they don't want to go to the shelters where you're in a little taped off square. And this one, you don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I've been involved with homeless men where I'm saying, well, let's get you down to the shelter. I even called ahead. They'll give you a bed. You don't even have to stand in line. I'm like, no way.
The other people.
Bed bugs, I can't take my dog, and you don't know what goes on in those shelters.
Yeah.
Do you allow animals?
We allow assistance animals, which is a fair housing classification. So it's not service dogs. It's more broad than service dogs. But it's animals that are for any sort of disability. So if you have like a mental health therapist who writes a letter that says, I recommend that this person have an assistance animal dog to help with their disability. They don't even have to say what disability it could be. It could be anxiety. It could be having seizures. It could be whatever your disability is. And then we accept that letter from the medical professional, and then you can bring your animal.
So you need animal food, dogs.
Oh yeah, we'll need lots of dog food. Mm-hmm.
Tell me,
What's
it's
the
required that they be taken to a veterinarian?
Oh yes, we have an assistance animal policy. You have to have all your vaccines up to date. They have to be registered with Multnomah County. They have to have all of they have to be treated for fleas and heart disease and all of the things that you have to do. And then you have to sign an assistance animal agreement form that has all these regulations about you have to keep your animal on a leash, and they can't be in the kitchen, and they can't make loud noises, and if that one is a 1 strike and you're out. If your animal cannot abide by the assistance animal agreement, you can't have them here.
Ooh.
What's the average age of the kids there?
Half of our kids are under 5.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Do you
so mostly
supply
little
them
ones.
with any sort of birth control program?
We don't, but
Stop.
It's available.
It is available, yeah.
So that many people in the room is
Oh,
probably.
no, I think
good.
that,
Not necessarily.
There is that.
You're sick.
Depends on that.
Strip club, you never know.
Evidently not that sick.
Any other questions or thoughts?
How many locations are you responsible for?
Well, now it'll just be the two. It'll be the Lents site and then our family winter shelter that's only open between November and April, and that's in Northwest, over off, not too far from Cooch Park.
Are you looking for any other ones in the near future?
Well, probably we're going to make sure we can make these be successful first. That's right, and we're really serious about that. And going back to the question about how are we going to make sure we don't do what Human Solutions did, we're going to be really strategic and intentional about our growth.
Do you engage residents in, taking care of the building?
Oh, yeah.
Whether